Hello Home Slices, it's Kiara with Home Slice Adulting, and I'm coming to you with a catch-up video. I am so far behind on my Love and Hip Hop videos, but I want to get back on track. So here's my review for Love and Hip Hop New York Season 7, Episode 8. Now we start off where we left off with Yandy having a revealing conversation with Juju on that beat and Kimbella, Ella. And Yandy is still defending her non-marriage to Mendices, and you know, I could respect Yandy a lot more if she owned up to the fact that she and Mendices are not actually married. I mean, she had good justifiable reasons for them not actually going through the paperwork portion of being married, but for her to still claim the benefits of being a wife without technically being a wife, and throwing it into the faces of the baby mamas and other people about this is what wife does. Like, I just can't respect that. But whatever. And Kimbella was being slow, like, y'all aren't married, but I was there at the wedding. That doesn't mean they're married, Kimbella. But anyways, I didn't understand what Yandy's motivation was for telling the ladies this now. I thought it was very weird that she told them this without really being prompted. I didn't know what her motivation was. But anyway, we see Yandy later on talking to Mendices on the phone, and they talk a little bit about Erica at first, and apparently Erica did not call the cops, but Yandy says, you know, next time she shouldn't mess with wife. And I'm like, who is that? Who's the wife? Because you are not married. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so there was one part where I was like, did Mendices just confirm that Asim was a break baby? Because we clearly heard him tell Erica on a previous episode that you and I know that Asim was not conceived, you know, during a break. But during this episode, he kind of said to Yandy, you and I know Asim was conceived on a break. He's playing both of them in my eyes, but whatever. Y'all tell me what y'all think about the break baby thing. But anyways, Yandy surprised Mendices. Now that's something that I was not expecting. I was surprised that Mendices did not know that they were not technically married. Now it appears that he knew that when the wedding happened, that initially they would not be officially married because of the whole restitution thing. But Mendices was like, why didn't you actually file the papers now that the case is over with? So Mendices didn't know that they were not married, or he's just not willing to snitch on himself. I don't know. But Mendices kind of seemed genuinely surprised. Now, I don't know why Yandy didn't tell him what the real deal was, and it makes me feel like there's something else going on that she is not mentioning. So Mendices was not happy about it, and he hung up on her, and that sucked. But last about Yandy and Mendices and the baby mamas, we see Erica and Samantha. Apparently they have a clothing line, and if I hear one more thing about another clothing line, it'll be too soon. Clothing lines are very hard to get off of the ground, and if they do get off the ground, it's very hard to stay relevant for a long period of time. I don't know why people don't go into other businesses and stuff that have more longevity or more chances of success. I mean, clothing lines, whatever. But apparently the baby mamas have a clothing line with a terrible name, Trendy Boys, and I really don't like them. But anyways, a woman shows up named Renee. Renee is Erica's lawyer, and she informs her about her rights that she has in reference to this apartment that nobody is living in, and that Yandy broke the law by changing the locks. Now, Erica's getting all this legal information even though she doesn't want to involve the courts. Why are you getting legal information if you don't plan on using the courts anyway? But whatever. Now, Renee says that there's not a lot of evidence, or any evidence really, to suggest that Yandy and Mendices are actually married. Now, depending on the actual chronological events and the way that they were taped or ordered, Yandy may have told Kimbella and Juju the truth about her and Mendices not being married, because she had heard things going around about them not actually having a marriage certificate. So she could be trying to cover up her butt a little bit, but I don't know. Now, the baby mamas don't look as crazy as, you know, I thought previously about them saying all these things about Yandy. I mean, I want to be on Yandy's side. I have known of Yandy longer than I have known of them, but there seems to be some validity to what they say about her, so whatever. Next, we'll talk about Cardi B and Mariah Lynn. Cardi B and Mariah Lynn meet up at a nail salon and they're getting pedicures. Mariah Lynn, for like the first time, actually looks very presentable. Her hair and makeup made her look normal and she wasn't wearing like mermaid hair or anything. She looked good. But anyways, Mariah Lynn tells Cardi B about her performance and what happens between her and Bianca. And Cardi kind of takes Bianca's side and she's like, you know, Mariah, you seemed kind of messy in that situation. And Mariah and Cardi wants them to both kind of get over it. That she said that Mariah Lynn needs to get off of her, you know, as a woman stuff, and Bianca just needs to get over it because it's petty. And she says that they all need to be friends again. So moving on, we find out that Mariah Lynn has invited her sister and her sister's son, her nephew, to come live with her, and they always get into arguments even though Mariah Lynn is providing her with food, shelter, clothing, the things that she wants, the things that she and her son needs, and that her little sister is unappreciative of her and that it's driving her nuts. And Cardi B sympathizes because we have all seen Hennessy and how she acts, so I'm under the impression that Hennessy is, you know, quite the character to deal with. So I have 4 little sisters. I get it. Now, there's something to be said about people who are willing to take in family and to help them out, but there's something else to be said for people who are unappreciative of it. If I'm helping you out, making sure you have a place to live, providing for you, taking care of bills and all that type of stuff, don't ever raise your voice to me. Don't do it. If I'm being unreasonable, that's one thing. But see, that's, you know, God bless the souls of people who feel so motivated by compassion, I guess, or feel obligated to go the extra length for family members. And I think some people kind of use that as an excuse. Sometimes you gotta treat family members like you would treat anybody else. If you had a friend that was being disrespectful to you, would you allow them to stay in your house? No. Then that same rule should go for your family. Sometimes families can't be the exception to the rule. So God bless you if you feel obligated to give your family more leeway than you would give anybody else in your life. But whatever. I hope that makes sense. Now, anyways, we see Mariah Lynn talking to her sister Victoria, and they're playing with little Elias, who is Victoria's son. Mariah Lynn feels like she has to play mama to both Victoria and Victoria's son. They have real family problems. They were separated. They didn't grow up together, so that's one issue. Their mom was an addict, and their mom says that whenever they argue, she feels like she's put in the middle and it makes her want to go back to doing drugs, which is very manipulative, manipulative thing to do and say, but whatever. I don't really like Victoria. She didn't seem to be heeding the advice of her older sister, and as the oldest sister, my parents' oldest child, you can see on, your siblings' faces when they are and when they aren't taking you seriously. And to me, it didn't look like Victoria was taking her seriously. And Victoria just seemed to be like, keep taking care of me and we'll be good. That's the energy that I was getting from Mariah Lynn's sister Victoria. And yeah, I just wasn't a fan of that. But like I said, God bless the people who feel obligated to do those types of things for their families. And I would almost do anything for my family, but if there's something that you were doing that is negatively impacting me, yeah. Next we'll talk about Adrian. Apparently she meets up with Kim Bella for Fashion Week in New York, and Adrian went home to Chicago to clear her mind, and even after clearing her mind, she decided that New York was where she should be instead of in Chicago with her child. That's interesting. But anyways, Adrian wants to bring talent to Snoop's label. Snoop's label. But anyways, that's going to be her gateway to get back in good with Snoop and try to build her own career in New York. So Snoop comes up to Gorgeous Gangsta's headquarters and sees just some old white man named Ike who only has one arm that's rapping. So the music sounded okay. Nothing, you know, that I would listen to, but it sounded okay. And Adrian pops up and she says, you know, she wants to be an asset in Snoop's personal and professional life. So Adrian says that, you know, she came in with a plan, but when she, you know, sat down and began to talk, everything erased from her mind except for the strong emotions that she felt for her dear beloved Snoop. So, anyways, they say a little prayer together, a little quick church prayer, and Adrian says that she wants in on Gorgeous Gangsta, and Snoop is like, what do you have to offer? And Adrian was like, you know, I can bring talent to you. I have a surprise for you in, you know, the way of talent, and I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but you have to meet this person. So Snoop wants to keep it professional, which is the best thing that she can do. Later on, we find out that Adrian, desperate to get back in Snoop's good graces, that she eats some humble pie and gets Sophie Green to come to Gorgeous Gangsta. That was pretty interesting. Next we have Remy Ma. We see her talking to Miss Juju on that beat, and Remy wants to separate business from pleasure and have Papoose back away from the managerial role. Now initially I thought Remy Ma was on some like 5 Heartbeats / Temptation stuff where she got too big for her britches and felt that the level of her success right now has gotten too big for Papoose to manage. But after she kind of explained her reasoning, it made a little bit more sense, and it made Remy seem less mean about it. Less mean about or malicious about getting rid of Papoose, because Papoose wants a child, but he's working Remy to death and he can't have both. Papoose wants to be on the business side of music, but she feels like deep down he still wants to be an artist and that he can't do both. So I think she genuinely had some concern for him. But later on, we see Remy and Papoose, and Remy put together a picnic, and Papoose is like, you're buttering me up for something. What is it? And Remy says that, you know, basically I've already hired a new manager so that you can take a step back from being my manager and step into your role as being just my husband. And she reads, you know, sees that he has almost 2,500 emails that he hasn't read, and she sees that he has lyrics on his phone, and she's like, are you trying to be an artist now? She really did a bad job of explaining that she wants to free him up to do things that he wants to do, as opposed to being a slave driver for her and only focusing on that. So Papoose was very unhappy, and I understand that. One, because Remy did not explain herself all the way. She didn't do her best at explaining herself. Maybe she should have rapped it. I don't know. But and he also feels like he has the drive to really push Remy, and that somebody who is not him, a manager who is not him, is not going to have that same drive and push her towards success. And he's also mad that she went ahead and made the decision without talking to him first. So Papoose has a right to be upset, but he has to respect Remy's wishes. Next, we'll talk about the Creep Squad. Yeah, lastly, we'll talk about the Creep Squad. So we see Peter Guns is back. We haven't seen him all season, thank goodness, because the drama with him and Amina and Tara is very yucky, and I am disgusted by it, quite frankly. But anyways, Peter is saying that, you know, I'm here to restore order in this fake group called the Creep Squad because I can't restore order in my own personal life. Okay. Anyways, DJ Self tells them that, you know, I went outside of my ranking in this fake club and kicked Cisco. You know, I took the liberty of kicking Cisco out of the group. Now, Peter Guns and Richie D found it very hilarious, but Richie D actually found it quite appropriate. Like, good job, DJ Self. You did good, even though you're, you know, the lowest on the totem pole. Whatever. So Peter Guns lets us know that he has like a little personal beef with Cisco himself because Cisco stopped him from getting like $10,000 in New Orleans. And so Cisco is backstabbing everyone, and I feel like, you know, at this point maybe he does need to be kicked out of the fake group because he really has no qualms about backstabbing these people who are supposed to be his brother. So yeah, Peter is kind of the only level-headed one, and he wants to have a sit-down face-to-face with Cisco on some man-to-man stuff. Now initially it sounds that way, but after thinking about it and remembering what is going to happen later on with him coming across that table, I feel like he wanted the opportunity to whip Cisco's behind in the event that things didn't go properly. So it may have been on some man-to-man stuff, but it could have been on some I'm gonna whoop your behind stuff. So later on, we see that they have a come to Jesus moment with the creeps, and we have, you know, Peter, Richie D, and DJ Self on one side of the table and Cisco on the other. And Cisco is like, is this, you know, an intervention? I don't need no intervention. So anyways, Cisco brings up Self stopping his money at the radio station, the Power 105 radio station. But then Peter Guns is like, didn't you stop me from getting $10,000 in New Orleans? Now, I don't know what I was expecting Cisco to say, but he owned up to that 100%. That's exactly what he said. I definitely stopped the money 100% because you continued to be friends with somebody who messed me over in the way of some money. And I was, for once, with Richie D, like, so you screwed over somebody that had nothing to do with you missing out on some money because they were messing with me. What? At that point I was like, okay, Cisco gotta go. Cisco has to leave this imaginary group. It's just not gonna work. But whatever. You know, I was kind of pushing for Cisco because I thought they were being a little too hard on him, but he's clearly burned bridges with the only other members in the group, so there's no reason for him to be there anymore. But Peter was right, you know, whatever issues that you have with Richie D for cutting you out of a restaurant deal is between you and Richie D. And it has nothing to do with Peter Guns, and it's really no reason for you to take food out of Peter Guns' 10 million children's mouths. So Peter seemed a lot more level-headed than I thought that he would be. He wanted an apology and he wanted his $10,000. So Cisco gets $5,000 out of his pocket, and Peter's like, I want my 10. And Cisco was like, well, you seem real aggressive right now, so here's the $5,000 in my pocket. I want you to come take it from me. And Peter Guns lifts his leg up so he can get across that table, and he doesn't quite make it. And that is where the episode ends. Now I have to go and watch the next episode so that I can catch up, because I didn't want to watch the next episode and kind of ruin that review by knowing too much ahead of time. But thank you guys for watching. Leave any comments below. You know, anything that you want to say, whatever you felt about the creeps come to Jesus moment, or Yandy acting a fool and pretending to be a wife, or Remy getting rid of her husband / manager. But next time on Love and Hip Hop, we see Pap gives Remy a pregnancy test. We see things go sour between J. Adrian and Snoop because they can't be friends. Anyways, Yandy meets up with some snitch, and Cisco meets up with Tara, which blows my mind. Why are you meeting with the side chick? Whatever. But Peter and Cisco fight, and I'm about to go watch that episode. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out, home slices. Be on the lookout for that next video. It's coming soon.